All right. So did any one of you do something yesterday when you went to bed? Uh, this. One thing to recognize about the dream yoga is that, if one day we somehow do not succeed, there is another day, and there's another day, and another day, and another day. And it's very important to realize that we spend one third of our lives in nothing. Like we go to sleep just to recover, to focus on the waking life, which for many of us seems to be the important thing. But we just forget about this 33%. So to recognize the importance of the night practice, if we are involved in this journey of self-discovery, I think is very, very, very important, right? This is one of the key elements to succeed in dream yoga is to recognize its potential. Because if we don't recognize its potential, then we will think, well, it's just dreams, or it's not real, and this will not develop, right? So perhaps this is one thing we can briefly think about it. I mean, not now, but perhaps later on to see, okay, is this something that is worth investing some efforts into? And in reality, it's not a lot of effort, because if we just create the habit of when we go to sleep, to go to sleep in this with this sensation of well-being and with a smile and just treating us with care and respect and love, this will really guide our consciousness to have dream experiences that are like non-ordinary. So what I would propose for you, I mean, the thing with the dream yoga is not as simple as to say, okay, I will do an inner smile and then I will feel well, and then you feel it. There is an immediacy when you do some of the practices, like for instance, Juan is teaching you. You go to the dolmen, you put your hands, you activate the dolmen, and you feel it. With the dream yoga, it's a practice that is called a yin practice. You know the yin and yang? So the yang is something that you can control a little bit more. You do something, you see an effect rapidly, whereas the yin practices are those that you cultivate in slow fire. You cultivate and we can say, okay, let's have tonight an experience of lucid dreaming, that you are in a marvelous place and you meet a great teacher. I mean, the likelihood of that happening is relatively low, right? That's the reality. So I could give instructions in this direction, but they may not work, and then this might create some frustration. So the way to practice dream yoga is more. It requires perseverance and requires patience. So these are things that. So it would be great that for us, like in 3 days with these small talks, I give you very profound instructions on how to practice dream yoga, and then you can continue. But it doesn't really work this way. So I'll give you some instructions so that you can start. Sorry.
And I just want to add something, that while you are having so very often the actual success in the practice is the perseverance, the fact that you're persevering. So the results have many factors, and he was explaining the difference between intention and the actual lucidity. But the fact that you persevere in a practice and you recognize the potential of that practice and recognize the potential of actually having an awareness that it's like a base awareness that can thread different states of being. So that's really an incredible success. So sorry, I just wanted to make sure, because the fact that you're committing to do it, and you have to go to bed, you have to take naps. So it's not like this is, you can go to the yoga studio, or you can. It depends, but you have to go to bed. Yeah. So and you will cross state, and then the dream yoga practice is very important also in terms of preparation for the death transition. So and it's no news, we're all gonna die. So sorry. Surprise.
Spoiler alert.
So this is why this is very fundamental, and what he's saying is it's a practice that even the fact that you are putting this in your radar in a consistent way, and you develop a structure that you commit to doing every day, and especially when you connect it to a practice of self-love and well-being, and then activating a motivation, a desire of well-being for others, that's already incredible. So sorry, it was just a parenthesis. I didn't want that to get lost in.
No. Yeah. very much. I mean, that if you don't get like I mean, sometimes when we practice dream yoga, it seems that the result is like oh, I had a beautiful experience. So, but the experiences are not the important thing, right? Experiences, one day you have a great experience, and then next day you don't, and then so the past experience is like something that happened in the past, but it does not leave anything long-lasting. So the experiences are not the key thing. I mean, to persevere is very important. To have this attitude to enter into the mystery, because every day we dissolve into nothingness. So we go to bed, we are still there, but after a while we are just gone. So our ego dissolves and then appears again in the dream world, where we can be somebody else, or something incredible can happen, very weird things. So we go through these states. This like waking life is more like stable. So tomorrow we will meet again here in this place. But then at night is like there is a space in which there is nothing. When we go like to base consciousness, where the ego disappears, but there is something that is still there. And discovering that is a major discovery. I'm not going to tell what it is, because then I don't want to give concepts or things that will fill the intellect. Because I mean, the dream yoga is very much based on experience. So it is not something that something will tell you, and you can think about this and you will have a theory. This is something you really need to experience to know how it tastes. So perhaps I would like to talk a little bit on lucidity. How many of you have had an experience of lucidity, or have a dream in which you recognize as a dream? So how many of you have had a nightmare and you recognize it's a nightmare and then you wake up? Because that's the first level of lucidity. You are having a nightmare, and then you say, at a given point, you say, oh, this is a dream, and you wake up in your bed. So this is the first level of lucidity. So it's a lucidity that stops abruptly, and you are back to bed, because lucidity needs several ingredients, but one of them is you need to have emotional balance. A lot of negative emotion or a lot of positive emotion will consume all your psychic energy, and then you will not be able to maintain that state. So that's very frequent when you do this practice for some time, and then you get your first lucid dream. You are so happy that wow, imagine right now, imagine that this has been a dream, that actually we are all in bed. Just imagine for a little second that we are in bed, and we are just, there is this guy here talking next to Fernanda, Juan, and then, but imagine for a little second, it's like, what if this is a dream that looks very real? Because dreams, while we are dreaming, they look real. No matter how weird they are, they look real. So if you for a little while think, okay, this could be a dream, and then you're amazed by the three-dimensionality of it. All the perceptions are like real, and so the reason why I'm saying this is because a lucid dream feels like that. It feels like you are in a three-dimensional space, but you're amazed by the fact that this is made out of me. So all the reality you observe in a lucid dream is made out of you. So the way to induce a lucid dream is not so complicated. And that's something that if you want to use perhaps the last couple of days of this, let's say, journey, to perhaps try to increase the likelihood of having that experience. So the way it works is like every now and then, from now on and tomorrow, you imagine you go to a place, oh, it's a beautiful place, and is this a dream? Yes, you create a program, like a back in your mind stream. Is this a dream? And just for a little while, you don't know whether it is a dream or not. And you say, is this a dream? And then you carefully think, okay, is this a dream? And then you look at everything looks like, is anything strange in this space? Do I know everybody? How did I came here? Oh yeah, they came with the bus. Okay, everything's okay. It seems it's not a dream. And you do this for a minute or for 30 seconds. And then after a while, you do it again. This takes like really no big effort. It's just to think about, okay, is this a dream? And you could do a dream gesture. You could do a gesture that you did in waking life. Right? You do this in like while we are here, for instance, you can say, is this a dream? And then it's good. And then you do a gesture. And then you continue. So now one day, you're dreaming, and then this mental program that you have, this mental habit that you have created during the day becomes activated in the dream because you have created this program. So every now and then you do that. So you will be having a dream and you will say, is this a dream? And then you stop and you say, okay, is this a dream? And then you say, how did I come here? I have no idea. Have you been here before? No. And then you can do your dream gesture. Why you do your dream gesture? The dream gesture could be whatever. I mean, you can look at your hands, you can touch your nose, whatever thing that is simple to do. Is you start moving your dream body. And then you start moving something like, because usually we have no power over our dreams. And there is no way to control anything. But in the dream yoga, there is, right? So perhaps if you want to complement all the practices we are doing with this little practice, and it's a yin practice, it's not something that you will just do it a little bit, and then after 1 hour you do it a little bit more, and then perhaps tomorrow or the night after, this may happen. Or it may happen in some weeks. But if it is something that we keep in our daily practices, not like 1 hour going to the yoga class, it is in the laboratory of your own body and your own mind, and you go to sleep every day. It is something so intimate that, and it's so natural because we just have all this ability, right? So if you want, we can do. So tomorrow I will just from time to time I may approach some of you and say, "Oh, is this a dream?" So just kind of yeah.
Is that widening your availability to dream, or are you going to dream that saw this beautiful waterfall today, and I said I'm dreaming, touch my toes. Am I going to dream of the waterfall, or am I just
no? This is just you can do that. That exercise you don't do it only when you see something beautiful. You do it anytime. But if you see something beautiful like these days, it's like, well, you can use that. But could be, whatever. You're brushing your teeth. It's like, is this a dream? So continue your things. It's create a mental program. So in your your thinking, in your stream of thought, just create this mental program. So one day, the person who is dreaming and the person that is here, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Right, so if you create that program in the waking life, it will activate in the dream. And once we open that first door, a whole world. It's like discovering a new dimension of experience where the rules are kind of different. So this is all very stable. You cannot really easily modify this external. You cannot feel an apple in your hand. I can feel it, but it does not manifest. In the dream, it does. So you're going to start doing a lot of different practices, working about on the let's say the flexibility of that reality of the perception, and then you can gradually work on deeper things that have to do with emotions, because I mean, that could be at the beginning, could look like a game you're playing, but it's to work with flexibility of the mind. That usually our minds are not very flexible. They are trained to be like a bit more, fixed through education, through many things. So with the dream yoga, we try to change a little bit that, and we gradually start discovering a bit deeper realities about who we are, and these are experiences that it's not something you read in a book. You discover the self-wisdom that may appear in a dream in the form of a master, or it may appear in many different ways. But you can develop a very deep knowledge about many things, accessing that incredible source of information. That is the dream. That is what we are. What we are here is just the tip of the iceberg. But there is an incredible source of knowledge and wisdom inside. And through the dream yoga, we open the door to all marvels. At least in my case, the dream yoga is 100%. It's like my main practice, where I really have learned so many things. When I met Juan, not Juan, that I met him, I met you like yesterday, but when I met Juan Lee for the first time, that is a teacher from us three, and it's probably, we are very good friends through that as well. I start dreaming like every week at least once with Juan. I had dreams with this man. I mean, for the first time I met him, I look at him and it was a kind of recognition, and I started dreaming about him. And he was giving me teachings all the time, for months and months and for years. And in many instances, before going to a particular retreat, there was a teaching in the dream dimension. So how can that be possible? The mysteries of life. I mean, many people can come up with explanations of that. I really like dwelling in the mystery rather than try to crystallize things into a particular explanation. But I kind of activated that, that desire for going deeper and deeper. I have this. I'm a scientist, so I work as a scientist. So perhaps I have this mind of trying to find out what's the origin of this. What's the cause of this? What's the cause of the cause of the cause of the cause? And if you try to find that in a library where there's a lot of books, you will be, or through the internet, you will be like, well, there's so many sources of knowledge, but there is a source of knowledge that is just so close and we don't see it. And sometimes we define ourselves, I'm not able, I always have to follow a teacher. I'm not intelligent enough, or perhaps, I will never reach those levels of wisdom as this teacher, this other teacher. And I used to think that until I really discovered the incredible possibilities of really entering consciously into this space. It's something you can even not imagine. I mean, any experience is something you can have. I mean, I've been doing all the craziest things. So perhaps talking with Juan, he's doing like all the craziest things in this waking life. In the waking life, I'm a kind of boring person, more or less. But in the dream space, I've been doing everything. I've been transforming myself into an animal. I've been dissolving my physical appearance. I've been whatever. So I had any crazy thing that I went through my imagination, I could experience, and it left a real experience, because it feels like here.